Now, answering your questions about the law and legal issues. This is Legal Break with attorney Gary Bruce.
And I'm Maureen Akers. Welcome, Gary.
Good morning. Good to be here again.
Yes.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. All right, today's question. Gary, what is the difference between riding with an Uber and riding in a cab if you're in a wreck?
All right. Well, there are a lot of issues here. I'm not sure exactly what they're wanting or what the question's about, but here's the big difference is this. If you're in an Uber and you're injured by the negligence of the Uber, there's plenty of insurance. Ubers are well insured.
Okay.
If you are struck by somebody driving an Uber vehicle, and you may not know it,
Right.
So you're there at the scene and it's just somebody's, SUV and they've got some passenger in there with them, and you don't know, but there's plenty of insurance in that situation. They're usually insured to $1 million.
Okay.
There's usually plenty of insurance. So that's the difference between being hit by or being in a car driven by an Uber driver versus a cab, because cabs, at least in Georgia, are woefully underinsured generally, usually have minimum limits of coverage. And there's an independent contractor argument that's made. You're not going to be able to sue the cab company. It's the driver and the little bit of insurance they've got. And like I said, it's usually minimum. And so if you're struck by a cab or struck by an Uber, the Uber is going to have insurance to take care of at least your property damage and hopefully everything else. The cab is going to be a little more restricted because it's going to be through this independent insurance company that most cabs use. Now, I won't say all, I don't know. Some may not use this company, but there's a company generally in our part of the world that insures most cabs at a minimum level.
Okay. All right. So what if, say, the Uber or the cab driver are not at fault and something happens?
Yeah, well, there you're going to look to uninsured motorist coverage or the person who struck you. Then it really doesn't much matter.
Yeah.
And I don't know the answer on Uber and UM, but whatever UM you have, if you have uninsured motor, so let's say you go to New Orleans, you're in an Uber because you want to get from one place to the other, and you're struck. What insurance will apply? Well, you'll want to talk to your own insurance. Your personal auto, even though it's parked back in Columbus or Phoenix City, will be have some responsibility under your underinsured or uninsured motorist coverage possibly. So those relationships don't change much, but that coverage is there for you in addition to the liability of the person or the driver who caused the wreck.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's somewhat complicated, but I tend to drive in ones that will protect me better.
There you go. Thank you, Gary. We'll see you on the next Legal Break.